Welcome to the 7th segment in Flipping the Tables special series from the September 26th through 28th Terra Madre Americas event, where Roots of Change hosted the Slow Meat Pavilion. Meat prices are extremely high these days, but that does not mean that ranchers are profitable because production costs are rising too. But profit is essential to sustain our producers of regenerative meat. Today's conversation features Michael in conversation with Tom Richards, one of 3 siblings behind Richards Regenerative, and the CEO and co-founder of Harvest Path, a new software tool that provides farmers and ranchers with a clear picture of what aspects of their complex operations are contributing or detracting from profit making. Enjoy the show.
Before we begin, I just want to say a couple things about the Richards Regenerative team. They have been huge sponsors of this event. You've met Carrie a couple of times on the stage. Now you're meeting Tom, and there's the sister Noelle right here. They are a dynamic team because they have been a backbone supporters of this event. We're really grateful for that. They've been backbone and kind of core to the development of the regenerative meat, grass-fed meat business in the state of California. And they're an inspiration to us and many other people, so we love it when they come and join us. So Tom, thank you very much just for being here and being part of this.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, and so Tom grew up on the ranch, knew a lot about ranching as a kid, but he went off into the technology world and learned a lot about technology, was kind of an expert in marketing CRM tools, right? For probably the largest CRM company in the world?
Yeah, one of the largest, Salesforce.
Salesforce, y'all know the tower in San Francisco. Spent many years there, and then you came back to the ranch and got out of that and came back about how long ago?
Well, so we started the ranching or the beef business about 12 years ago. So I actually live on the ranch now, but it wasn't until a couple years ago that I actually moved back to the ranch after raising my kids. So the journey of the beef company and actually the software, Harvest Path, started about 12 years ago.
Okay, good. So that's what we're here to talk about, Harvest Path. We're talking about it because the regenerative ranching and all the things that it does for us are great. But if the ranch doesn't make money, it will not survive. And so Harvest Path is a technology, and technology is actually incredibly important to regeneration in my view, for a lot of reasons. For one thing, technology can be used as a sensing mechanism out in the field, how much water, how much nutrients, all kinds of things that can be used from sensors. But you actually came up with an idea for a different kind of technology, a different use. And why don't you talk about why you developed Harvest Path and what it is?
Sure, thank you, Michael. So when we started running our own beef company, what happens is you start collecting a lot of data about your cattle, data about what you're feeding them. And for us, we also had to certify all these animals. So we had to report to the American Grass-Fed Association or to our certifiers for our regenerative certification. So you have to start collecting data. And then when you start processing all of those animals into meat and into inventory, and you start shipping it, that data starts to accumulate really quickly and it gets really confusing. And so we started out this journey by tracking our animals. And then we realized, wow, we got the animals managed. Well, now we have to track the meat and we have to track the processing and the costs. And then we have to push all of that cost into individual meat cuts. And then we have to sometimes move that around. And the amount of detail was starting to climb so high that it was really starting to be impossible to manage all of this on spreadsheets. And so we are just like every other company we're finding in the industry, is that it's all managed in spreadsheets. And so what we did is we started piece by piece building this application to run the entire supply chain. And we often refer to this as the messy middle. So you have your rancher raising an animal, and then you have the meat product, but that whole middle section is really complicated. And so we started, over the course of 8 years, building this application piece by piece to track each one of these things. And the most fascinating thing about it was that when we started building it and started, tracking our inventory, we realized we were losing money on this product and making money on that product, and it really helped us zero in on the good products and get rid of the bad. So when you're running a business as complicated as a food business, and there's a traceability element, you have to have all of your data really tight. And so we built this over 8 years for our own business. And so we used it this whole time. And then about 2 years ago, we got an award. The California Association of Family Farmers gave us an award for the best small business or small ag business technology. And my sisters and I, we looked at each other and we were like, I think we have a product here that we might be able to sell. And so really, this didn't just come out of thin air. It wasn't an idea we had overnight. It was an 8-year journey.
It was a slow development.
Yeah, it was a long
journey. Which is totally
journey.
Appropriate.
Which it was slow.
It's a slow technology for slow meat, which is beautiful. I love that little. That's great.
Yeah.
So actually, there is that saying, "Go slow to go fast." Right? And sometimes I do hear that in business, go slow to go fast, meaning build a really good foundation. And that's what you did, because you probably were testing, you were innovating as you went along. Things worked, things didn't work. You were innovating, changing the product as you went along.
Yeah. Well, it was nice that we built it in stages. And so, it was, what's the problem today? Oh, wow, actually, we can add that to the application. And so, like I was saying, over time, we built it over 8 years, and so we were able to absorb it kind of problem by problem, right? As something came up, oh, you know what? We should track our labels in the system, and we should track our audits in the system. And so we just kept, adding piece by piece. And so we turned around 8 years later, and we realized we weren't just running one business, we were running 2 businesses on a single platform. And, and we got rid of not all of our Excel spreadsheets. We still, use it here and there, but we got rid of most of that. And we were able to look at our business from like a dashboard perspective and be able to roll up all of this data into one place to be able to make decisions.
Wow. So can you describe the difference in the performance of the business pre-tool and post? Can you describe it? What did you see happen?
Yeah. So what happened was, just like many people in this room, we were managing it all on spreadsheets. But what was happening is it was just so hard to update a spreadsheet and then give that information to everybody else, right? And share that information in real time. And so the impact that it had on our business is it enabled us to scale 5 times.
Scaled 5x.
5x, without adding extra headcount.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah. It also helped us get insight into where we were spending money. So like on the cattle side, we realized we were spending all this money on hay, and we were able to look at how much that was costing and then do comparisons of, what if we shipped these cattle north and we grazed them on another ranch and didn't buy hay? What's the cost of the hay versus the cost of the shipping? And so, but until you start to get those costs in a system and you're able to look at them, it's hard. You end up arguing.
You can't make decisions. You can't make good decisions.
You can't make decisions. But once you get it in there, it's a glaring example. And so the other thing that we found too was we put all this data in there, and then we started doing order by order, case by case, selling all the products through the system. And then we were able to look product by product, order by order, how much we were discounting, how much the cost was versus what we were selling, and a margin per product, per order. And it was shocking, right? We realized our salespeople were paying for shipping or discounting too much, but we didn't know these things until we really were able to see it. And then once we were able to see it, we corrected it. And so we were able to raise our margin on individual products. We were able to get rid of feed costs. It was a complete game changer.
Game changer.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
So, I mean, how many ranchers, you're out there now talking about this product with different ranchers. What percentage of the ranchers get it? Like when you talk to them, do they see it?
Yeah, they do. They see it immediately. They look at what we're doing and they go, oh, wow, you've got cut sheets? Oh my God, all your inventory's in there? Oh, what? You can email straight out of the system? The only thing that we do see too, though, is they look at it and they go, oh my God, it's so much. How did you do this? And so like our challenge right now, implementing it with other customers, is helping them take what is kind of a data mess or the messy middle, as I mentioned, and organizing
Inputting it. They have
and
to input
organize it. Yeah, exactly. Getting their products in the system, getting their accounts, their contacts, uploading their inventory.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot. But what we've realized is we get them past that overwhelm, kind of feeling. And once they get all the data in and then they start transacting on a daily basis, they're just like, wow.
That changed my life.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm going to switch kind of the focus a bit. I want to talk about regeneration and the fact, you guys are raising animals in a regenerative way. We've been playing a video back there that kind of tells the story, a 20-minute little video. Some people will see that when we're not speaking, about kind of the journey that you went on. You're doing certain things with your animals. You are certified grass-fed. You have to sell to, part of your story has to be sold and you need data for that. So talk to me about how this tool can be used by those who want to back claims, want to be able to show a wholesale account or a retailer on your website that your story is true. Is this helping you with that information?
Yeah, the best way I can describe this is actually one of our best and greatest customers is UC Davis Health, right over here. And so I got a call from them one time. We were selling them diced beef. And I got a call from them one time and they said, hey, our patients are raving about the stew. And we just were curious, what was that made of? And the buyer said to me, you don't have to answer that right now. You can call me next week or whatever. And I said, no, don't worry, hold on. Give me 2 seconds. And I just looked up our fabrication and backtracked to the raw materials. And I was like, oh, there was some strip loin and some tri-tip and some other really good steaks that we had to cut up to put in there because it was in the freezer and we wanted to get it out. And the guy said to me, how did you do that? Like, how does that happen? And I said, oh, we have the system that we use. And he said, well, where did you get this system and where did it come from? And so I explained that we built it. And he said, Tom, US Foods can't do that.
Wow.
Not in 2 seconds like you did. And so that was also one of those other aha moments where my sisters and I, we looked at each other and thought, wow, I can't believe these giant companies can't do these things or won't, whichever it is.
Well, that kind of reminds me of a conversation we had with your sister yesterday and Jib Ellison about the mentality that many of these large companies have, which stretches back to the 1930s and last century, really. It's last century thinking. So you're talking about 21st century thinking, a technological view, a use of technology. So are you saying that in time you'll be able to provide an interface for someone to know a lot more about the product?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, our focus in like stage one of the company is really helping companies like us, livestock producers who have a brand and they want to sell off their farm or their ranch. So stage one is really about introducing that framework for managing a profitable business. And so the next stages are around, we call it agriculture intelligence, but it's really, AI types of things, where we want to enable many things. So one of those things is the ability for a customer to be in the grocery store, scan the QR code and go, oh my God, that comes from Modoc, California. That's really cool. But there's so many other things that we're looking to do around things like cost allocations or around pricing recommendations, helping a producer who's starting and does not know how to price their product, right? We want to provide a way to use the data that we have in our system, plus, like data on the internet using things like AI to say, hey, here's what you should charge for a ribeye. If you're in California, you should increase it by 10% because blah, 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 right?
And does the scale of the ranch or the farm operation, because this doesn't just have to be beef, right? This could be any livestock.
Yeah, we're enabling, I think, 6 different species right now, but there's really no limit. All we do is add another species to the pick list, and we're off and running. So actually, one of our early customers was a bison meat company, and they started doing elk. And so they said, hey, can we add elk? And we said, yeah, give us a few minutes, and we had elk.
Wow, that's good.
The process is the same. It just, when it comes to the animals, we had to tweak and add a couple things so that they could track elk.
So another topic that's come up is the complexity of, there is real complexity in raising animals. There's even more complexity in the messy middle. So it's hard to be profitable, right? A lot of companies, you and I have talked about in the past, a lot of grass-fed regenerative beef companies try and don't make it. If they had a technology like this, do you think the odds would increase? I mean, give me a sense of what you think in terms of how many more companies could actually make it once they actually understood what the real costs were.
Well, I can talk to our experience. And so the answer to that question is 100% yes. I mean, because we built this technology, we've been able to sustain our business. And the biggest piece is, in running any business, it's being able to quickly identify what's not working, right? Are we making money? Are we losing money? And if you're gonna, lose money, you wanna do that intentionally with like promotions or whatever. But what we found is, okay, we introduced a product and we're selling it, we're losing money. Okay, what do we do? And it's having that information at your fingertips so you know when something's not working. Mm-hmm. And then you can, we were selling individual cuts on our website, and we weren't making money doing it. And we were like, okay, what's wrong? Okay, let's create a bundle. And with the bundle, the price goes like this, and then we can discount it, and bang. Now all of a sudden, we took a single unit item that was losing money, and now we have a bundle product that's making money, and we're selling more units, right? So it's just about having that data at your fingertips so that you can start doing the thinking and make decisions to make the changes so that you can profit.
So how much time is it going to take for this to become a more ubiquitous, more widely known and utilized tool in your mind?
A lot of hard work. Yeah. It's going to take hard work. It's going to take events like this. And honestly, events like this are so important because, as I look across the room, I don't know how many ranchers there are who might actually buy this. But if you're a consumer, you're driving the bus, so to speak. You're the one who's asking for regenerative product. You're the one who's asking for traceability. And so this system allows a small company like ours to provide the traceability, to do the right thing. In our mind, regenerative is the right thing to do, and then operate a profitable business doing it. But there's a lot to do with you, the consumer, and your choices that you make. And when you buy from Costco or from some of these other places, that meat doesn't necessarily come from folks like us. It comes from overseas or what have you, or it's a feedlot, or it's dairy culls or whatever. And so I would say it's the help we want to see is from folks like you in your everyday decisions.
Great. So actually, I see some Stanford students out there that are working with technology. And I'm just wondering, as you hear this story, what resonates for you?
I was thinking about actually salmon fisheries, and if you guys have been looking at using this for like fishing co-ops or people that do fishing and not necessarily
Jacob's
ranching.
from Alaska.
Yeah.
I think Jacob gets a hat, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, it could be. we have not looked at that yet. The one thing that we have looked at is chicken. So, I mean, as you guys know, right, chickens are different than cattle. But, our system is built to manage individual animals or groups. And we realized that we named our group management herds, but it could easily be a flock or a school or what have you, or a pen or something. So it can be with some tweaks, is the answer. Yeah.
So this is kind of a strange question, but I'm looking over at the next thing that's happening with Mary Sue Milliken and her cooking demo, and I'm thinking, are there applications for restaurants? I mean, the way you were talking about product, the fact that you can break down and you do it with UC, telling Santana what he's getting, are there ways it can be applied and used by restaurants?
Yeah, so there is so much that we can do and that we are looking at doing, and one of those things is, the data that we're compiling and will compile over time is going to give us a whole lot of information about the marketplace. So the example I think that you're getting to is, as I think about it, is I'm a rancher and I have a beef brand and I have inventory that I haven't sold. But I know there's other beef companies that also have inventory they haven't sold. And we're all on the Harvest Path platform. Well, all of that inventory is in the same format, in the same database, and could be marketed together as a package deal, right? Yeah. For big buyers. And so one of the things that we'll be looking at is how to enable producers to kind of partner
up,
right? Collaborate and share data so that they can go out and sell to a big customer that maybe they couldn't provide to by themselves.
Aggregate, yeah. One of the things we've worked on a lot is how do you get people to aggregate. The other thing I thought about as you said that is, one of the things that you're doing, you're working with other ranchers, other folks that have land to move your animals around so that they can graze continually throughout the year. Are there ways to use what you're doing on pasture management?
Yeah, 100%. I think one of the screenshots we have floating by me here is a planning view. So one of the biggest things that we designed this for is because of how we operate. We run our own cattle, we're buying cattle, we're grazing cattle on other people's property, so we have leases. So we have cattle moving from Santa Barbara County all the way up to Modoc County, which is the northernmost county in the state. So we have cattle moving all over the place, and one of the things we had to get our hands around was all of that movement and all of those lease costs and feed costs and cattle costs, and then we also needed to do forward planning for months at a time. And so that's also one of the big elements of that is, how do you plan cattle purchases and harvests, and how many animals is it, and where are they coming from, and what time of year? So it's almost like if you've ever watched them launch planes off an aircraft carrier and you see all this crazy movement. That's what it's like. That's what it's like.
That's amazing.
That's what it's like.
We're got to close here, so I want to just ask you, how do people find out about Harvest Path? How do they get to you, get to talk to you, get to see and demo? I know you are doing demos in the back, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So tell people about how to reach you.
Yeah, so our website is harvestpath.ai. It stands for Agriculture Intelligence. So don't worry, we're not going to take over the world just yet. And so we have a booth right behind you here, and also our website has where you can contact us, our salespeople. I'll be back here. I can give anybody my information if you're interested. We're also on Instagram and LinkedIn and all those places where you can find out more information about us.
And whenever we can, we're going to be working with Tom and Noelle and Carrie, so stay in touch with us and we'll put you in touch with them. So thank you very much, Tom. Really appreciate it. Best of luck. I think this is going to go really well for y'all, so congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed the show. Please share it with your friends and listen to our next monthly episode of Flipping the Table, hosted by Roots of Change, a program of the Public Health Institute. a nonprofit organization dedicated to building a healthier world.